Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck. You suck. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce,
Patrick Cale,
and Marcus Hurley.
the big game of the last few weeks would have to be Inside. We're just going to talk about this in brief terms first of all, so that I can get your take on it, Ian, because I know you haven't finished it.
Correct.
So, how are you finding it so far?
I'm finding it to be quite beautiful, which probably means I'm not far enough along to be finding it quite terrifying. I'm not entirely sure. But I love the minimal UI. I love the mechanics. I love the way it looks. I love it. It was done in Unity.
Right, okay.
And I love wanting to play it more. I really enjoyed Limbo as well. Limbo's the one with the black and white, cartoony, shadowy one, right?
Yeah, it was the first game by Playdead who made this.
Okay, but one of the problems with Limbo was I got to a point where I got a bit stuck and I didn't really care, so I just stopped.
Oh, but that's what Google's for.
Yeah, and don't worry, that'll be helping me here as well.
It certainly helped me on a couple of bits, mostly because I just wanted to get past those bits, not because I was frustrated by them. I was just like,
and that's
I don't want to be here anymore.
I think I know exactly which bit you mean.
It's one of the walkie dudes with the mine cart. I can't do that one.
The mine. Oh, I quite like that puzzle. I didn't
I
have
know
too
you
mu-
mean.
I didn't have too much trouble with that, but I can appreciate why people did, because you're having to sort of think about things across quite a large area, and yeah, that's.
Thank you.
I almost ran into trouble there.
Well, it's that or I Google it. So,
Yeah.
But I've been playing it late at night, and that's an excuse.
Doesn't help.
But I really want to. I want to, because I've stayed away from spoilers for the ending or wherever it starts doing whatever it does. But a lot of people that are whose opinion about games I appreciate have said you've got to play this game, and then not said anything about it. So.
Yeah, I think the general
Proper
line is
hype.
play it before you get spoiled.
Yeah.
If you can.
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad I didn't know anything going in. But yeah, I think I've compared. I was thinking of it like it's like Half-Life and Half-Life 2 in the way that those games sort of, most of the sort of joy of it is that they're very everything's there for a reason. And it all hangs together really well. It might not be like the most realistic sort of setting, but it's very artistically awesome. And it establishes a set of rules and it builds on them. And it's crazy to be saying that about what is essentially just a 2D left to right platform game. I would say, to be honest, it doesn't even need the puzzles because some of it is just so cool to experience. But then I suppose a lot of the puzzles kind of get their benefit from that aesthetic.
I would actually say, in a way, you don't even need to play it. One of my friends just watched the whole thing on YouTube, just one sitting. And when I finished it, I thought, I can see how you don't really miss much of the game doing it that way. Although like the gamey parts of it were fun, it was a very much like an experiential thing. It was, I thought it was a little bit like Journey in a way, like that it was
like the game or just a Journey.
Journey the game, and like I thought, like you wouldn't miss a whole deal if you just watched it as a kind of film. But for me, it was honestly one of the best games I think I've ever played. And like, because if I'm putting it up there with Journey,
high praise.
Yeah, very high praise. It's enormously difficult to talk about without spoilers because, yeah, exactly.
One
Because
moment.
a huge part of it is the story.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just get into this. We won't take too long over it, but if you guys just want to get
One
rid of
moment.
your cans, and then
Cool.
we'll just discuss this. Because I've got to talk to Pat about
Yeah,
it.
no,
for a
definitely.
second.
Go for it, mate. Go for it. I need to
One
play
thing I
it.
will say, I know you said like you should definitely play it before spoilers, but I in a way, it's a very kind of there's a lot of perspective involved in how you took that ending or how
Okay.
you take the game. I've seen many different interpretations of what it's about from the ending.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Right.
Cool.
I'm going to
Okay.
mute you guys
and go
We'll
play
leave you
it.
to it.
and go
Yeah,
and play.
and for the benefit
Lord
of the
Rings.
listeners now, if you
If
haven't
you can
played
wave or
it,
give me a text when you're done, that'd be great.
yeah, if you haven't played
I'll
it,
try not to swear.
stop listening and come back when you finished it. Okay, cool. And here we go. Right, so
Right.
that fucking mess of a thing at the end, man. Like, what the fuck? That was so foul.
So so the cleverest thing about this game is that it kind of tricks you at the start into thinking that you're a human kid in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then it starts to kind of suggest that there's human agency which have some kind of control on this zombie apocalypse thing. But as it kind of transpires late in the end, that's maybe not exactly what's happening or anything like that at all. And it kind of suggests that, in fact, you are the same thing as the zombies,
Yeah.
and that it's all to do with cloning and some kind of weird
It's all about-
bio-cybernetics.
It's all about control, I think. Like, because the way that you're
Yes,
controlling zombies,
yes.
there's an awesome puzzle later on where you're controlling a zombie that's controlling another zombie, which
Yes.
which was fucking brilliant. I love that.
So clever. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
You're right. It was largely kind of based around like autonomy and like mimicking autonomy and controlling others who are kind of like husks. And there's a really, really great theory about the game, and this is absolutely mind blowing. But there's this idea that the kid is essentially a parasite in his own body, and the whole
Right.
game is basically the metaphor of the immune system trying to fight out this infection. And that when you're in the line with the zombies, there's a section where you have to kind of mimic the movements of the
Yeah, which
of the
is
zombies.
fantastic. And I fucked up a few times.
and like there's the people with this theory say that that's you trying to mimic the immune system. You're trying to trick the immune system, and the dog is basically the immune system, and it's kind of chasing out the parasite. And if you think about it, there's loads of little bits in the game which do kind of look like that's the kind of thing they're suggesting. And especially with what happens in the end, where the kind of theme of kind of sickness and tumours is kind of quite blatantly illustrated, and
So horrifically well animated.
it's the shaders of the skin on the beast.
The
at the
way
end
and they're
and
all trying to like sort of like
have their
lean
own
up
movements
against one another, and and when it's like you sort of move the stick up, and it's sort of the whole bulbous thing just sort of like moves up.
Yeah.
And it just felt fully disgusting, the way it articulated and stuff. And the way you're just smashing through stuff. A lot of people have compared that to the end of Half-Life 2 with the gravity gun. The way that the
Yeah.
gravity gun gets like mega overpowered. And it's just
Suddenly you become
ridiculous.
this massively OP thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. But like, it also like there was some really weird things about the ending. Like, and as this is like a spoiler, we may as well talk about them. Like,
Yeah, just go
when
into it.
When you so when you first kind of take over the beast parasite thing body at the end, and you smash through a giant panorama of like a woodland scene.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the scene that you end on at the end. So when the
Yes.
thing dies at the end, that's the thing in the panorama. If you think about it, you've spent the entire game descending. So how are you outside? That must be a fake environment. So like maybe it's like a fake environment outside of the factory so that organisms which think they escape actually don't escape. You mean like the human characters were helping you as you kind of got to the final parts of the game it like opening doors for you and letting you through places. It sort of seemed a bit like a test or something. There's so many weird things. There's so many questions about like what the game was about, and like that's why it's so good.
Yeah, and it defies real explanation, and it's open to interpretation in the same way that Half-Life did as well. I know I keep mentioning Half-Life, but it's in that realm of like games, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Another metaphor people have said is maybe it's just a metaphor of what a game is, and that the people with the white mask, that they were the developers, and that the obviously the main character was the player, and that the zombies were the game mechanics, and that kind of makes sense as well. Like it's so kind of multi-dimensional, and it's because it hasn't tried to, I guess, explain itself, that it's such a kind of compelling story. Because we often have it kind of spelt out for us, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, BioShock is a game that always thought it was very smart, and there is that moment in it which is very smart, but it's still very on the nose when they do the twist. It's like it's great. It's like they've done all the setup, and it's sort of transcended that. It doesn't need to have that big payoff, because the payoff is the thought of it all that you have afterwards, you know, and
absolutely.
What you take away from it.
I was just staring at that end screen. I was sitting there with
jaw
my
on the floor.
Yeah, just like exhausted. Just like same thing happened when I finished Journey. It was just like that was a journey. That was an experience. Like, and absolutely such a great thing. I can't wait to play it again. To be honest, I'm sure there's things I'll pick up in like multiple playthroughs that I didn't notice the first time.
I'd like to watch someone else play it, you know, sort of be there while someone else is playing it. You know, like when you've watched a really great movie and you want to show someone that piece of art and experience it with them. Absolutely.
I made a friend of mine play Journey when he was having a bit of a rough patch, and it gave him like a real like moment of zen in a time when I couldn't do anything else to console my friend.
No,
making him play that game just like totally took his mind off it, and he's still playing it. Like plays it like once a year or something. Like you're totally right. Games like these, you should totally share them with people. You should totally make people play them, because they are experiences. They are totally like experiences.
There's two bits I just want to get to before we get the others back in. The first one is that girl, the creepy swimming girl.
Yeah.
That's the bits that I had to get a bit of help with.
Same here. Because it was just so overwhelmingly creepy and horrible.
Yeah, and then of course, then you've got your other method of control, where basically I think the reason that you were dying in all of those occasions were because you were fighting against her, and then when you finally submit, where the game kind of submits for you. Yeah. When you lose control, that's where you are more empowered, because you get the ability to swim underwater and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some people have said that she's maybe connected to the brain thing at the end, or the whatever it is at the end, like that it's some kind of hive mind, and maybe
because when your clothes get all ripped off, I was like, oh, is that me? And there's like some weird time travel thing, but no, it wasn't quite that. I don't think.
Well, to be fair, I had a weird assumption by just seeing them looking into that chamber. And all when all the adults are looking in there and you join them, I had a feeling there was going to be like clones of the little boy in there. But it's weird. Like it's weird that we both had a similar sort of assumption about it. But now, like the idea of it being like a hive mind and it's actually controlling all of the other things. That's like really interesting.
But all those marketing materials now, where you see the guys looking in the thing, that just so creeps me out now. Looking at just you know, when you saw the screenshots of the game like quite a way out, or you know, or posters of the doctors all crowded round the glass. Yeah, it's like now we know what they're looking at.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, oh man, it's just the best. So yeah, and the only other thing I wanted to quickly mention was that we both played this in Steam Big Picture mode.
Yes,
which I thought it really lent the game. I think I might have lost a few frames for it, but it still looked great. It was still perfectly playable, and I think the way that the camera sort of suddenly angled itself and stuff, and you're so small on the screen relative to what else is going on. Playing it on a massive screen,
I thought it was a good way of playing it, because that art was so beautiful, and you really didn't want to miss a single piece of it. And to be fair, like I sort of had to play it in a headset because of the brightness at the moment. If you want to play a game like that and it's not, nighttime, that's a very, very dark game. So it was a good way of avoiding any screen glare and missing any of the details of it, which is important because it's a really, really beautiful game. Limbo was as well, but Limbo was a beautiful monochrome game, and this is just the next level. But
also because of the simplicity of the fact that people don't really have faces and stuff, you don't lose any fidelity whatsoever from the the Rift graininess stuff. So that's definitely a recommendation. I was really glad I played it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, just was good to talk to somebody about it because I haven't been able to talk to anyone about it yet, because no one else has played it. So yeah. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast.
And Marcus.
And Marcus as well. And Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. 5 stars will help us. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
My friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck. You suck. I suck